app can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future homebuyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of homeownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923, AnyMac Home Mortgage, an equal housing lender, American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC, DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage, LoFi Direct, Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent, License Lender, Broker Number ML 338923, Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License Number MC 338923, Rhode Island License Lender, License Number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
The man released millions of barrels of oils to help the people out. Too bad he meant the people of China. I'm sorry. What the hell was that all about? So his plan was to help. The plan was to help China. It's his best friend. That's funny, huh? So let's take a tally. This shouldn't take long. There isn't too many wins. Or Joe, am I wrong? Let's take who are you not in a tough spot? Let's talk about safety. Are we safer? Are you not? The board now, oops, I spoke too soon. Yet the party in power worry about the past in a comb-over baboon. There are real problems going on, and they seem not to care. This November should have been a breeze for Republicans, but now it's up in the air. Roe v. Wade is no more, and that's they could have used this to instead of pointing blame. Now the red wave is pours 4-point swing from shore to shore. So now it's more important than ever before. Research your candidate and vote once more. Don't vote for your party, but for what you stand for. Show them that we the people are the government and not them. Welcome to the Divided We Stand. Finally, after 6 weeks of uncertainty and doubt, I am happy to report that the We Stand will be going back to 5 rings. So let's get to it. All right, I am Jim Battisti, and as always, clutch of a man there, Joe Aguirre. How you doing tonight, Joe?
I am doing A-OK.
You're wearing up, huh?
Say what?
Let's go ahead and get to this barrel crap. All right, I said let's just get right into the barrels of oil going over to China. So this isn't a Fox News right-wing right, of all outlets. Bloomberg reported that the majority of the millions of barrels of oil that he released from the National Reserve went to China for some reason. Now, I actually did research the reason. And the reason was it's a very unrefined oil that he released. therefore it's extremely expensive to turn it into gasoline or any other kind of petroleum that we use. So we didn't use it because it's too expensive.
Okay.
It's not to say that Joe Biden. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I mean, what we made money off of that sale, and at the same time, it gives them more oil that they're able to use that will keep down the cost of the transportation on that end, which in turn will lower the price. I get your argument about helping China. There's certainly no ally of ours, not by a long shot, but in the capitalist economy, supply and demand, who's most willing to pay for 1 million barrels of oil for the highest price, and China won out.
Yes, but if my point of all this was this, he came on the air and said, gas prices here at home, he's going to release X number of barrels of oil. Yet he sent it the majority of it to China and priced. This is, what in the hell is he doing? And who is he pandering to? Is he pandering to the people of the United States or to Xi? Because that's my only question.
Sure,
Because
again,
he's not
like
helping
you,
us, Joe.
but no, but he is. He's helping us again in that. First of all, it's cash we probably need, but second of all, again, if China doesn't have enough gasoline and they have a shortage, that's going to greatly affect the price of shipping. And knowing that everything comes from China, again, in the long run, that actually would help lower the price. Again, dude, this guy does a lot of weird things worse than the oil. I'm surprised you didn't jump all over. Literally on June 24th, on the day that Roe v. Wade was to be overturned, he was going to nominate an anti-abortion conservative judge to an appeals court in Kentucky. It's a lifetime appointment. That's got to be the head scratcher move of the year.
Yeah, I read something, a little snippet about that, and I wanted to get back to it, and I forgot. I've been extremely busy with other things, but and I'll tell you about them offline. It's kind of exciting, but yeah, I don't does he even know what he's doing anymore? Because I mean, honestly, he went out, what is it, last night?
Yeah.
And nobody showed up for him. Nobody. The gubernatorial and the Senate race are highly contested, and they're like, I don't want to be near him. Everybody is distancing themselves from this man.
His approval rating is
not
less
good.
than 20%. It's bad. It's really
it's
bad.
The lowest in history.
Yeah. And again, you have to ask yourself the question you asked: why are all the polls for the election in the fall so close?
Oh, well, I mean, there's no question. I mean, the idiot move that the Supreme Court of the United States pulled in the favor of a conservative favor, right? In favor of conservatives, that just ruined the red. That alone, that day, there was a 4-point swing. So where Republicans were up by, couple points, 4 points even. Now it's dead heat, or they're losing now.
Yeah.
And they didn't do anything. They didn't even do anything wrong. They did nothing, right? Every one of these Senate races that are, being ran, there's all the Congress people, their decision, yet they're paying the price. You can't fire a Supreme Court justice. You can't out-elect them. You can't, elect somebody new. So the red wave.
All you can do is pray for their death.
I was boasting about how long was I boasting about it on this show? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I boasted on this thing for the red wave for months now, actually. For a long time, and it was just ruined. I don't know. So I was hesitant to bring this up, but I want to, right? Because I think it's important here. if you look at everything that's transpired in the past, let's say 10 years, going all the way back to Obama, everything that the government has done, whether it was intentional or not, has put people in boxes. They have literally, the United States government is literally segregating own people off of political and religious beliefs. And now they're praying to that. And this is just another thing that just divided this country, right? So nobody's stopping. Not one Republican, why don't you wait till after November? Right? I mean, it's a conservative court. They should have been like, yeah, I understand the red wave would have been intact. But they don't care. Like, so this is what I'm starting to think that they don't even care if they win. All I'm thinking is that they want to segregate people because segregated people are easier to manipulate and control.
So last week I filled in on a conservative radio station for a week, and as you can imagine, heads exploded as I unveiled,
of course,
fact after fact of information, right? And again, I'm like, you're welcome to look all this stuff up. I've carefully researched it. This is what reality is. And there's two types of Republicans right now. There's the kind that just pretend everything is fine. This is fine. They're not doing anything bad. I keep hearing a lot about nothing's been banned, states' rights. It's like 40 states banned it. Or we'll have it banned by the end of the year. It's banned, right? Like, cut the crap with the semantics. No one's officially banned it yet. 13 states had trigger laws where instantly
14, right?
Yeah. Like, that's, again, it's, and as I said, and I am anti-religious, and this whole argument literally starts and ends with a Christian ideology. It's the only religion that believes in the idea of life beginning at conception. The Catholic Church doesn't baptize stillborn babies because they don't consider them a person because they've never taken a breath. The Jewish religion, the Muslim religion, life begins at your first breath and it ends at your last breath. This is a very specific Christian, evangelical Christian ideology that the Republican Party is catering to for votes. Here's another one. We talk a lot about Ron DeSantis. His bill is extremely vague. And as we've talked about on this show a million times, Jimmy, vague laws get overturned, which got me thinking. He knows it's going to be overturned. Any law that is very vague is going to get overturned in court because laws need to be specific. But I think it was purposefully written vague to get overturned. You didn't really care. It's part of the platform, and that I get. You know what I'm saying?
Let me pander, right?
That.
Let me say I did.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I did, and then even better. Jimmy, if they overturn it, he's the hero. If you put me in office, I'll get that thing back in, and people buy into it. I explained last week that these guys and gals in both parties are very manipulative people. The Democrats, again, had from April 29th, when the memo leaked, until June 24th, to attempt to codify Roe v. Wade in the two chambers of the House that they control, with a president of the same party, of the same belief. Now, a year ago that May, with no one thinking Roe v. Wade was going to be overturned, it failed 51-49. Put it to a vote, knowing Roe v. Wade is going to be overturned at any minute. Maybe you get the votes that you need. The Democrats, Jimmy, didn't even try, which makes me feel like they were kind of cool with it. Think about the money. Think about the swinging polls that they've had since this all went down. This is a great rallying cry. This is their way to stop the red wave, and I feel like they did it at the cost of people's rights. Again, maybe on the thought of, listen, if they come swooping in here, right? And let's say the red wave turns into more of a blue wave, and they've got majorities in both the House and the Senate, they can do all of those things. And so you're exactly right, Jimmy. This ruling couldn't have come at a worse time politically. And I'll tell you this, I interviewed last week several congressional and senatorial candidates in Connecticut, running against Jim Himes, running against Richard Blumenthal, and I asked all of them if they thought the decision would hurt them in a liberal state like Connecticut, because they're both like, we're voting with the Republic. We'll get rid of this thing. The polls came out from Emerson College, and Dick Blumenthal has a 10-point lead over the one Republican who's pro-choice, Themis Claridis. The two conservatives are getting blown out by 18 points respectively. So, yes, it's got a major impact. And some of these, this one guy, Peter Lamage, who, if he gets the nomination in Connecticut, will lose by 40 points, I promise you. He seems to think that these people are just sort of reacting to the overturning, but they'll realize in time that this was the right move. And it's like, have you met any liberal feminist women in your life, brother? Like any rallies every day since, man. They're signing thousands of people up a day to vote. Like, this is bad. And then, Jimmy, compound it with all of the recent shootings. And again, you've got the side that's defending the shootings, and you've got the side that's trying to do something about it. That's not going to help them either.
So I actually have a bit on there. I wrote it down. I know you saw it anyways. I'm trying to leave. I greatly appreciate it because I didn't know we were going to, but that was a good segue. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yeah.
I think it would be wrong not to mention Highland Park, right? And I'm not going to mention the nut job's name because I'm never going to give anybody like that any kind of airtime, any credence. So I'm just going to call him nut job. So
I'll go with that.
I've been hearing a lot about it and stuff like that, and how this father, after suicidal attempts, after threatening to harm people, signed off on the age waiver so he could get a gun. I'm a new independent yet right wing leaning, right? Especially when it comes to the amendments, all of the amendments. I'm a Second Amendment fan. I don't believe the Republican Party today is utilized as it was originally intended. Right. In my opinion, after reading everything in the Constitution and all that, the reason for the Second Amendment was to be able to defend ourselves because we, the people of the United States, are the government, and we are able to defend ourselves. For instance, a government that's trying to divide all of us, a government is trying to put us in little blocks, a government is trying to stop conversation, a government is trying to stop progress. I mean, there are literally segregated freaking dormitories, campuses. When the hell did we go back to the 1950s?
Yeah, that's so ridiculous, dude. That's, Jimmy,
right?
Jimmy, there was on Friday, and I felt like this was a little chum for the conservative audience. A lot of the times, and you do this to me too, you'll just assume that whatever the stupid liberal thing of the day is that I'm with it, and I'm generally not. The woman who created Friends, Marta Kaufman, said the other day, I don't know if you saw this, that she is embarrassed and lives with a lot of guilt because the show 25 years ago seriously lacked diversity. And it's like, bitch, shut up. Okay? 25 years ago, that was how TV worked. They didn't want black people walking around in the background. This country, yes, it is systemically racist. And that was a thing for a long time. And if they had blacks on TV, they wanted the light-skinned kind, okay? Everybody knows that. Again, we're moving forward as a country. We're recognizing where we've gone wrong in the past. We try to correct some of this stuff. You got to be proud of America for doing that. I know it sucks that there's people, but again, we don't live in a utopia. We live in a society, Jamie, like, everybody's got their right to express an opinion, to live their life by the values that they've decided to live with, whichever ones they are, or whether you think it's a lack of values that they live with. It doesn't matter. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's what everybody's going for. Which, again, my bigger point about all this is, they start taking the rights away. I don't know why anybody would celebrate that. You could personally be happy abortion is gone, but a right was taken away. That doesn't feel good. And they're talking about taking away more. And again, eventually this is going to affect everybody. And that's when I think it's gonna hit reality for people. I've said this to conservative men. If your wife gets raped, dude, you're raising the rapist's baby. You'll probably have to take the baby to the jail to visit the dad. Do you want to do that? I don't. That's insane. Imagine if your kid were to be raped by a relative of yours and become pregnant with an incestuous, like, what? We don't even want to have exceptions for stuff like that. I'll give you even one better. I got to play this for you. This is a clip of states' rights. Here's a state legislator, Jim. He's asking this doctor some questions, and she explains that they're going to pass a lot of laws that are affecting the way physicians treat patients, that it's very dangerous. He asks about using a pill for a colonoscopy. Check this out.
You mentioned the risk of colonoscopy. Can that be done by drugs?
Mr. Chairman, Representative Barbieri, it can not be done by drugs. It can, however, be done remotely, where you swallow a pill, and this pill has a little camera, and it makes its way through your intestines, and those images are uploaded to a doctor who's often thousands of miles away, who then interprets that.
Follow up, Mr. Chairman.
Barbieri.
Can this same procedure then be done in a pregnancy? Swallowing a camera and helping the doctor determine what the situation is with the...
Mr. Chairman and Representative, it cannot be done in pregnancy simply because when you swallow a pill, it would not end up in the vagina.
Fascinating. That certainly makes sense, Doctor. Follow up one more time, Mr. Chairman.
Representative Barbieri.
Jimmy, Representative Barbieri doesn't realize that the digestive and reproductive systems are different systems and not connected. This is scary and dangerous. Oftentimes, Jimmy, before we do our show, you've
This
written
is what
your
I'm
part.
talking about.
I've written my part, and I go, and sometimes I'll read the stuff that you've written about, like Biden selling the oil. I hadn't even seen that story today. I saw you had it in the script. I looked it up so I could speak on it, right? Imagine going to a public hearing and you're a state senator, and it's like we're talking about abortions. I don't know. For Christ's sake, go on Wikipedia and read the article just so you have like a working knowledge of the idea. The throat and the vagina are not connected. Like, what are you talking about, dude? How does this guy not know that? That's what scares people.
And yet these people keep getting elected, Joe.
Well, that's the problem. And so, again, when you talk about liberal states and conservative states, it's pretty much that way. Again, we know Ohio, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Virginia, Arizona, that they'll flip a little bit. Otherwise, every state's red and blue. And we know which ones are which. And the crappy part, and why you can't have a civil war, Jimmy, is because they're so mixed. There's liberals in conservative states and conservatives in liberal states. So what you end up with is look at a state like Connecticut, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit more, but Connecticut has not had a Republican representative in Washington, D.C. since 2008. Nobody in the Senate since 1988. The governorship has been in the hands of Democrats in this state since 2006. 32% of the state has no representation in Washington, D.C. Imagine if you lived in Kentucky and you're a Democrat, Jim. Nobody's got your back. No one's got your voice. You can vote as much as you want, and nothing is going to change for you other than you're going to have to go find a liberal state. And so slowly but surely, Jimmy, what I see happening is that states are just going to continue. Instead of seeing the purple in Texas and Georgia, I think you're going to see more red and more blue. You're going to see states getting a lot more population-wise, a lot more clear as to who's there.
Yeah, I honestly think, and you know what? And like, I don't want to be a crazy conspiracy theorist, right? I don't want people to think that about me, right? But I like to think.
But get them thinking about it. Do it.
I like to think. Everybody knows right now, and everybody hears on the news how it's pretty much broken down by class here, right? We have the coastal elites and then the dumb idiots in the middle of the country. What's going on in politics is that's what they're trying to beef up, right? They're trying to segregate us more. They're trying to move us into the different areas of the state. Why? Why, Joe? Because we're the largest populations on the coasts, on New York and California. So eventually, all of California is going to be, and all of New York are going to be Democrats. And then if the way that they're going, if we're actually going to call ourselves a democracy, and then major, the popular vote, that's who's going to run the country.
Yeah,
the coastal elites, which are going to be made up by Democrats. And that's why they're doing this. And that's just my thinking, my conspiracy theory hat I'll put on, I guess. Screw it. But that's why they're doing it. It's a class war, and now they're dividing class, right? So the classes that are the most populated are California, New York, liberal, Democrat, control what's going on in the all about control. It's all about power. They don't give a shit about any one of us. None. But that's just me.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, there's massive pandering. Both of these parties are about winning. They're not about the issues. They're not about their constituencies. They're about winning for the parties. That's, again, why Joe Biden would work out a deal with Mitch McConnell to appoint a conservative anti-abortion judge to a lifetime appointment in Kentucky is unfathomable. I mean, again, it goes to show, I mean, if Joe Biden cared, he would tell Mitch McConnell to shove it up his ass. McConnell was like, listen, I'll let you put your people in if you put this guy in. And Biden was like, all right, we'll do it. What?
Well, look, you got to look at Joe Biden's voting record on all things when it came down to abortion. All the things that he said when he was a young senator, all the things that he said when he was an older senator, when up in president, he wasn't really that pro-choice.
Fair enough.
People need to realize this. Go back.
But listen, this doesn't solely even fall on him. Pelosi and Schumer, again, you've got the House, you've got the Senate. Why didn't you at least propose something? Put it to a bill and put it to a vote. Make people publicly put their vote right after the issue happens. That would help you too. Again, it was just a weird play by the Democrats. It almost seemed like they were okay with it and will fundraise based off of they're stripping these rights away. I think they could have done more to stop it, and I can't help but think they just didn't want to. Again, it's like the Republicans after every shooting, and they're like, here we go again. They're going to come for the guns. Like, give us some money.
Yeah. Can we agree that the Democrats right now actually do have the ability to make change, right? With a 50-50 tie goes to Vice President Kamala Harris, Democrats win. right? They could
Yep.
have done what they wanted to do. They put a stopgap law in there, right? Where nope, you can do that. You can ban abortions up to this point. They could have done that. They could have proposed, right? And if they were smart, if the Democrats were smart, you're 100% right. Because you know what? Mitch McConnell does this really well, right? When what's her name? AOC came out and Bernie Sanders came out with the Green New Deal. Yep, let's do a vote right now. Right now. So he got it on record. Every day. Yeah, so he could use that for fodder later on.
Right.
Why didn't the Democrats do that? That's what they should have done, right? They could have.
Because of the possibility of it passing.
Care.
The possibility, imagine if they would have codified. Well, right, Jimmy, if they say they would have codified on January 25th, they would have codified Roe v. Wade, national law put in place. What are you going to say in November? Well, we did it. We accomplished it. Dude, once the mission's accomplished, the fundraising stops. The running, using that as a platform is out the window. So, of course, neither side really wants to accomplish the goal. Trump just wanted to start building the wall. He didn't want to build a wall. You know, I hear conservatives talk all the time. There's pieces lying around, rotting away. And it's like, yeah, that's not good. But he shouldn't have started building something he wasn't going to finish. And if he would have had Mexico pay for it, I would have been all for it. So none of these guys want to finish the job. If the job is done, then they can't threaten you with if you don't get us in there, we won't be able to. And that's literally what this all comes down to. It's crappy like politics, and that's all we're getting right now.
That's it. That is completely right. And I think, again, we need to do something about it because, again, people need to send a message to DC that we are actually in control. I'll say it again, #write-in. We need to write our candidates in. We don't want to accept what they're going to give to us because all they're giving to us is big money, right? We can just say that out loud right now. On both sides, all they're giving us is nomination, essentially. So let's not do that. Let's not play their silly little games because when you play silly games, you win silly prizes.
Yeah.
Stupid games. Let's write in who we think. And you know what? 20 years ago, you weren't able to do this. Impossible. But today, with social media, and everybody can talk to everybody, we should be able to do this. But which we need to my portion by saying that, yes, I do believe in the Second Amendment. Yes, I do believe in right. I do believe in states' rights, but I also believe in individual rights. And I also believe in this one little thing that we need to teach the United States government again, and that's called accountability. Nobody's being held accountable. Nobody in the highest of government is being held accountable. They are running roughshod over everything. They are doing whatever they do, and nobody is holding them accountable. We need to find a way to be able to hold these people to the coals, and that way is November. We need to write in stronger than what we're there. Period. That's going to be the end of my portion of it. So again, as always, right after the break, Joe's 2 minutes of crap. Stick around.
There's no bigger investment than home ownership. And to make sure the house is up to your standards, you need a professional to look it over. Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections is a licensed home inspector and a member of the Connecticut Association of Home Inspectors. Brian was a contractor for over 15 years, so he knows how homes should be constructed and how mechanicals should work.
What makes me a good home inspector was the 20 years that I was a home improvement person, doing all the different repairs that I have done and what other people have done wrong that I had to go out and fix. So I have a pretty quick eye on seeing what's right and what's wrong. Before you move, call Shamrock Home Inspections.
Before you make the biggest investment of your life, call Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections at 860-268-2566 or visit shamrockhomeinspectionct.com. I recently read an op-ed by former Republican Congressman Christopher Shays, the last member of the GOP to represent Connecticut in Washington, D.C., way back in 2007. And it should be noted that this guy took his fair share of criticism from both sides. In the article, Mr. Shays talks extensively about being labeled a rhino, something I'm all too familiar with. Jimmy, last week, the nicest thing the listener said to me was I was a rhino. The worst thing was I was a left-wing nut. A Republican in name only. And this comes down to two particular topics: guns and abortions. You could be extreme on any other issue, and no one questions your conservative credentials. But when it comes to abortion and gun rights, it is unwavering. That's why people like Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene can find acceptance in the Republican Party. So when people say the Republican Party boils down to guns and abortions, that's pretty much what they mean, and that's from other Republicans. When this country was created between 1776 Declaration of Independence and 1789, when the Constitution was formed, we were an occupied nation. I mean, for crying out loud, the Third Amendment is the Quartering Act. The British literally had soldiers living in people's homes. So yes, of course, your right to bear arms was not to be fringed upon. Now, Joe Biden was recently misquoted about the Second Amendment. What he said was that no amendment is absolute. You see, much like Roe v. Wade in that decision in 1973, it said Americans had a right to an abortion unabated in the first trimester, no restrictions, but the second and third, states could place restrictions on them because, again, no law is absolute. As Joe Biden pointed out, you couldn't buy a cannon when the Second Amendment was established. You can't buy a flamethrower today, technically. I don't know how that guy got one. Listen, nobody wants to take your guns away, despite the fact conservative media repeats that ad nauseum. That's the reason why you think it's true. Guns were not baked into the cake of American society. It was a very different time. Now consider the technological advances in both abortions and guns. Things have come a really long way, and we need to learn to accept that it is okay. We can't live life like it's 1797 because it's not the same circumstances, and the technology has literally changed everything. Listen, you have the right to religious liberty, but that doesn't mean you get to impose your beliefs on the judicial system. Separation of church and state is there for a reason, and the founding fathers knew that. They knew that religion had a negative impact wherever it held power. It's literally the reason they came to the United States. And if you don't believe me, read a history book. Or you can watch the musical Hamilton for this little tidbit. Those who stand for nothing fall for anything. And Jimmy, at the end of the day, on both sides, more so on the right, I would say, people are being fed a lot of bullshit on a daily basis. Things are terribly spun out of control, again, with the idea that the other side, Jimmy, hates America, hates your way of life, and wants to replace you with a minority. And those are scary things. There's another caravan headed for the border. Yikes. I better vote Republican.
Well, hey, first off, that was a great job. I really enjoyed that. Second off, you know my stance on immigration and the caravans. If the Republicans were smart, they would be the ones at the border saying, welcome, come on in. We believe in family. We believe in God. Yeah. We believe in being a conservative nation. All the Hispanics are raised to be. If they were heard, they would be doing stuff like that. Joe, I am not a friggin' genius. I don't even have a college degree. And I know in the upper Northeast, that's a sin, but I don't, right? But it's not difficult. Why aren't they doing this? These are supposed to be the smartest people and the brightest people this country has to offer. Are they not?
Yep. Sometimes I feel like America's not setting it.
That's all I'm saying.
I feel like sometimes the United States isn't electing our best people, you know, rapists and murderers.
Yeah, right. It's whoever can buy the most airtime, man.
Real quick, I did something funny. I want to tell you about it on the 4th of July. My wiffle ball league, we had the weekend off. We do it for Mother's Day, Father's Day, the weekends where no one's going to show up. And so we knew no one was coming for the 4th. And so somebody asked if we were playing, and I said, no, we love America. And I couldn't help myself because there's a lot of conservatives, and they're really good buddies of mine. They have a good sense of humor. We didn't know this, but one of our buddies' accounts got hacked. And I don't know if it was some Russian bot controlling it, but I put a little post in our group chat. And it was patriotic quotes from like George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Obama, President Reagan, John F. Kennedy, the Roosevelts. And then at the bottom was Trump's. He's a war hero because he got captured. I like soldiers that don't get captured. And the bot left the group.
Interesting.
Isn't that funny? Yeah, I like rattled this bot's cage.
I didn't know you could do that. That has to be a first. Congratulations!
Yeah, I was so proud of myself. Funny, I was like, that's insane.
I remember when he said that, dude. I'm just like,
yeah. Yikes.
Are you kidding me?
Jim, that was another
whether
one
he
of
was
those
joking
moments.
or not, whether
yeah,
he was
dude, right. It was another one of those moments where I thought, oh, he's done. This is it. This has got to be where people are like, okay, we're done here. And no. No, they hated John McCain instead. The good part of people hating John McCain now, though, is that people by virtue of that also hate Meghan McCain.
Yeah, I guess that is a good side of
silver lining.
You could say, right? Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Joe, I wanted to ask you a question about what you were saying earlier. Marjorie Taylor Greene, what's her name? Lauren.
Lauren Boebert.
Like Lauren.
Yeah.
Whatever. So this is what I'm talking about, right? How these people still get elected. I know I know that Boebert's a rookie and all that. She's a freshman, but she's going to get reelected. She will. But how? So again, to me, I try to bring it back every single episode. Education. We need so much more education in this country about anybody's feeling. I mean, that's the safest way I could put that, and you know what I mean by safest.
No, I do, and I listen. I agree with it. Listen, I understand. So here's another thing. Some conservative listener hit me up and was like, you know, a woman's a woman, but how about when Biden changed the birth certificates? And I was like, what is this nut job talking about? So I looked it up. And sure as bananas, in the 2022 budget, they changed mother in just the paperwork. They refer to mothers as birthing persons. And this blows me away. I didn't think about this, but I guess a trans female could be pregnant. And so, not that I would think they would want to, but they're trying to make it all inclusive. I think that's stupid. Mothers are mothers. It just I don't know that mother has to apply to a woman. It's a mother's a mother. We don't need to redefine these words. I explained this to my wife, and she was like, "I'm fine with that because transgender, men or women, whatever it is, can get pregnant." And I was like, "This is why people hate you guys, though. This is just mother goes back to the first thing you ever see or know is mama, and we're gonna change that to birthing persons." That's why people hate liberalism, because it gets stupid. It gets really stupid at times. The woman apologizing for the lack of diversity on Friends 25 years ago. Explain how they even could afford those fucking apartments, lady. Okay? Explain why anybody would want to fuck Joey Tribbiani. It's a fucking moron. There's a lot to apologize for. The fact that show doesn't hold up today, comedy-wise. Apologize for that, Marta Kaufman. But don't apologize for 25 years ago, dude. We've grown from there. We know that you don't do stuff like that now. Oh, good Lord. Again, and I tell my wife this all the time, when it's that kind of stuff, like, that's why people dislike you guys so much. That's why these guys think you're trying to redefine America, because you take a good idea and you take it to such extreme levels that it turns people off.
Do you think, God dang it, Joe, I was just going to say something. Do you think that it is a way for them to choose that I'm better?
A little bit.
No?
A little bit. Yeah. Again, this sense of I think people should be aware, not woke, right? I don't think that you have to go out of your way to apologize for your whiteness or for the fact that you use the word gay derogatory when you were what? Again, all you could do is move forward. I joked last week about Donald Trump saying he was the least racist person, and I said, It just seems to me the least racist person in the world wouldn't even feel the need to defend themselves, because nobody would ever think that. The logical thought, right? So again, you can feel bad about you can feel bad about things you said or did when you were younger that were maybe on the racist side. I think I was a little racist when I was a younger person, but you and I have talked about this. We joked about race with our ethnically diverse crowds. Nobody got offended. Nobody got upset. Nobody fought anybody over it. I was talking to my wife and kids earlier today about comedy clubs. There's a sign at the door of every comedy club that explains you're at a fucking comedy club. Jokes are going to happen. Some of the people are testing out material to see if it's socially acceptable and funny. That's literally what you're there for, and you'll let the comedian know if they've crossed the line, and then that will be the last time anyone ever has to hear that. You're a barometer, but you're at a show. You're watching a comedy show. Again, I understand the PC stuff, Jimmy. PC stuff at school. I told my son recently, you have to live separate lives. Public life, school, respectful to teachers, no finger guns, none of that kind of stuff. No swearing. Home, different story. You have to learn to navigate the difference. When you're in public, you have to act like a decent human being. In private, you can do whatever you want. Yes. That's what I think.
I couldn't agree with you more. You want KKK member? Just don't bring it in public, because people like me will snatch you up quick. Keep that shit private. I don't care.
Well, again, like you said,
me, then
there is personal responsibility. You can be a racist at home if you want. If you bring it out in public, there's ramifications for it. Same thing with the liberals, though. You can want everyone to say the right things and do the right things. You can't push people. You can only set the example by doing it yourself and not insulting them or bragging about it when you do it. Again, Marta Kaufman realizing that Friends needed to be a little more diverse. I've thought that for like 20 years. I'm glad she's just coming around to it. Where's my medal? Where's my People magazine interview? I was offended when that show came out because it was such trash. She should apologize for just the fact that the show sucks so much.
Dude, when was there an Asian star in any of these sitcoms?
Right. Never. You know why?
I don't think there is.
Nobody wanted to see Asians on TV. That was a thing. They liked Bruce Lee, Brandon Lee, Jackie Chan. That was all we needed. There's like 1 billion Asians on the planet. We were like, well, just take 3. And they should all kind of look the same and have the same skill. Karate.
But my point in all that, and I'm glad that you mentioned all this, Joe, right? I really am that you said all that. Because my point is, you again, systematic racism. And I don't think it's a systematic racism problem. I think it's this is what sells. So capitalism wins again. Now,
yeah,
was it racist? I don't think it was. I think it was, this is what sells. So this is what I'm going to put on the air. Right, wrong, or indifferent, it was all about dollars and not about skin tone. So why are we now making it about skin tone? Why are we now making something that happened years ago a freaking issue?
You know what? For the life of me,
possible good. What could change?
Eric Stonestreet from the show Modern Family is a straight actor playing the role of a very flamboyant gay man, Cam, on that show. And it's a fun family show, liberal-leaning views for the most part, obviously. Like at the beginning, Ed O'Neill as a dad was a little crotchety about all the diversity in the family and grew to love everybody. Again, I hear, I think I told you, Joe Biden even said this. He talked about, just in television commercials, in TV shows, there's minority characters sometimes just out of place, just so that you have one. And then it comes to, again, you're checking boxes. There was, I talked about this a few weeks ago, I think on a different show, but Jimmy Walker Liquor, the malt beverage, did a bourbon, rather, did a commercial. And they had like 2 black guys on the crew helping. And then everybody celebrated with bourbon afterwards. Whatever it is, I don't know. Is it bourbon? Johnny Walker Black, is that bourbon? I'm not a bourbon guy.
Johnny Walker. I think Johnny Walker's Scotch.
Whatever it is, the Scotch. But again, dude, at the end, like, dude, those black guys weren't free to, like, enjoy some Johnny Walker with the rest of the group. You don't have to, like, add that in there and, like, kind of, revising history. Like, yeah, after those guys did such hard work out in the fields all day, we celebrated with a shot. No, you didn't. You absolutely didn't. And that lady in the commercial, she didn't get any either. Let's be honest. Right? Come on. Stop with the fake shit.
Number one, the lady would be serving the men, right? The lady would be serving the men the shots, right? Yes. Number one. And the black guy would be in the ground holding everybody's coats or something while they do it.
Yeah. At best. That's best case scenario for the black guy there, so again, honestly.
Joe, I love it, dude. I love that we can segue like this off each other, right? Like, and teaching history is not a bad thing, no matter how bad the history. You just need to teach it that it was bad so that we can learn and progress. Isn't that what the point is? But teaching a revisionist history is not a good thing. You need to teach the way the history was so you don't repeat. Good, bad, or
Jimmy,
ugly. All of
to
it.
speak to that, I've read some of the 1619 project, and some of it, it's like, oh, this is good stuff. And some of it, I'm like, I kind of get why people are like, oh, is it because it is a little rough and it's very like tear the band-aid off kind of history. And it's a little shocking. Like, if you think Christopher Columbus was friends with the Pilgrims and they had turkey together, like, if you really find out what our history is like, it'll melt you to your core. So I think there's got to be a more delicate way to approach it. Like, listen, like most countries, the founding here was a little messy, you know?
Like
It's okay.
every single country ever created in history.
Yes. We don't have to be ashamed of it.
And
like you said, we need to be educated about it and learn from it.
Right. And you know who really fought those wars? The slaves. The slaves fought those wars. That's who fought the wars, because every single country in history has had slaves, whether they were black, white, Asian, or whatever. They've had slaves. White people were slaves, right? Black slaves. Koreans were slaves.
The
Chinese
Slavic people of Europe. The Slavic people of Europe are, the word Slav is from the Latin slave. The Slavics were the slaves of Rome who were freed around 440 and just moved back into Europe. That's what Slavs are. Slaves. Literally, they were white Europeans. So you're right. Yes. It's always been a problem.
Battery, right? Like that has always bothered me, right? Like, we didn't create it, and in fact, we were the first ones to abolish it in Western civilization. We're probably still the furthest along in race relations. Like, I don't understand why we would go back and say, nope, it's a bad place. Well, no, it was a bad place. You're 100% right. And it was found on bloodshed. Just like every other. But where would you be without it now? Who knows? But so just enjoy what we got and not repeat the past. That's all you got to say, man. And that would be the end of it.
End of the day, dude, I would say
it's absolute
again.
Education.
Both sides love America in different ways with different visions, and we just have to figure out a more common ground to move forward.
Yeah, I think that common ground should be me.
Let's do it. Let's get you running, brother.
We're going to vote Jimmy.
I love it. Semper Fi.
I just don't understand how common sense is no longer common anymore. Honestly. Like, it's not.
If it doesn't fall in with your line of thinking on something, you're willing to go around common sense and try to justify your thing is like, well, but this, and it's like, no, stop.
It's ridiculous. We need one. First and foremost, we just need to get back to basics, right? This is how you do math. This is how you read. This is how you freaking, you don't need to worry about
Common Core's fault
until you reach. Oh my God, I hate Common Core, but that's neither here nor there. Until you reach a level of maturity to where you can make these other social decisions on your own. Until then, just stick to freaking math, writing, reading. Right?
Wouldn't it be ironic?
It's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous.
Would it be ironic if this Texas doctor who says he detected a heartbeat at 6 weeks in an infant, if he used Common Core math to get there?
Yeah. So really, it was 12 weeks, like, but Common Core said, yeah, I got it. But according to Common Core, he's not wrong, right? He's in the ballpark, so he's not wrong. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So let's get back to basics, number one. Get back to normal And I know you hate the term Judeo-Christian, so I won't. Let's just get back to freaking good people standards.
We could just
That's
have
it.
good family values. There's nothing wrong with promoting family values. As long as you keep the Jesus out of it, I'm fine with it.
I mean, look, if you want to take Jesus out, as long as you teach that killing is bad, I mean, hell, that's cool, right? No matter
Yeah,
what,
no, I don't need Jesus
why
to
or
tell me
who is.
killing is. Yeah, yeah. This is my favorite part of the day. The Jesus photo. I have nothing to do with this. Jesus did not know America existed. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, I got one last thing.
By the
Marjorie
way,
Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene on the 4th of July, dude, put up this hilarious tweet where she basically suggested that Jesus helped us defeat the British Muslims on the 4th of July because they were working with the Mexicans. I shit you not. She said that, and mad people retweeted it.
you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. I don't know
There you
what
go.
more I can say. And yet she's been elected times. Like,
Yeah.
how long has she been in there? Because she's not a rookie. She's not
No.
a freshman. Like Bobert.
MTG, baby.
I gotta tell you, man. So 4th of July, right? And I thinking that day, right? And I'm like, I love this country. All people do, right? I even the mission of the Marine Corps and the mission of the military to my very core. I do. I still do. So when I see it, it's so depressing to me the way people talk about this country and how they don't see how their freaking diamond shoes are too tight. Do you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's to me that these people live in one of the most prosperous, one of the freaking freest, one has some of the nicest weather, San Diego. I mean, it's a great country to be in, and yet people just want to bag on it because they don't know. They have no idea. They have no experience. I've been to freaking 15 countries. Trust me, I know. I have experience and how awesome this country really is.
Dude, the fact that
Mexicans
the fact that Mexicans would die in the back of an 18-wheeler or die swimming across the Rio Grande to get here tells you all you need to know about what people really think of this place.
I was watching on CNN, and on the 4th of July, they brought this scholar in from Harvard, I think she was from, and explained how the Constitution of the United States is nothing more than handcuffs and we need to burn the entire thing. And
that's a little much.
The thing that made American exceptionalism exceptional is the Constitution of the United States. Look throughout history, we're the longest running empire. We truly are. And it works only because we are a representative republic. That's it. That's the only reason why it works, because we're a representative republic. If you do away with that, just think about having place. What utopia do you think there's going to be? You got to remember, there's always going to be people like Donald Trump in the world. There's always going to be people like Jeffrey Epstein in the world. There's always going to be people like freaking who's the guy with the Ponzi scheme there? I can't remember his name. There's always going to be bad guys in the world. Always. That's the point. There's always going to be bad guys. So what friggin' utopia does any better plan that they can prove to me has worked in the past 2,000 years? This is the only one that's worked.
Yep.
And for to say that it's a piece of garbage and it doesn't mean anything and we need to freaking burn it and start over was just a kick in my nuts. I'm not going to lie to you, man. I'm not.
I'm with you. That's terrible. Again, this is something that needs to be flexed out, not fixed.
Thank you. Absolutely. Right. And you absolutely, everything can bend as long as we don't break. That's great. Right. That is true progression. That is what
Since
we
the
should be striving for.
1920s,
Not going back to
1920s. Yeah, we've made tremendous strides since the 20s into the 60s into the 90s. You know, the LGBTQ community, I don't think enjoys a better situation than they do here. And it's not great here, and it can get better, and we're working on it, but you wouldn't want to be anywhere else in the world. And that shouldn't be lost on people.
Absolutely not. No one shouldn't. But they don't see, this is why that's my point. Freaking dime shoes or two. They don't ever want to take off their blinders to their own little happy little world, and they got to show that they're better than everybody else. Believe this, and these people don't believe half the crap they say, and it's all horseshit, and it's starting to really bother me. You know what we need to start saying and getting back to believing? The freaking Pledge of Allegiance. How about that? I don't know. That could help us. Might unite us. That might stop us from freaking hating each other so much. Just an idea. Anyways, Joe, it is really great to be back on Thursdays. I promise my internet connection will be better next week. I apologize to everybody right now. We've gone 10 minutes over our allotted time, so we are going to wrap this up, I guess. And God bless America, I'm going to say. For Joe Aguirre, great show, by the way, Joe. Great little segment. I am Jim Battisti saying good night and God bless.